Good evening, everyone. My name is Christina Stark, and I am the Global Enrollment and Marketing Director at New Mexico Military Institute, better known as NMMI, located in Roswell, New Mexico. We're so glad you could join us tonight. Tonight, we have a very special YouTube live session for you. We will be speaking with parents. And as you know, it's hard for parents to leave their teens at a boarding school, and lots of misperceptions of what a military school is all about. So, joining us tonight, we have parents who can tell you their story firsthand and help you better understand the programs NMMI has to offer you. So, I'll have them introduce themselves. So I would like to invite them to speak about each one of their children. We have parents here with several children at the school, and we have alumni also joining us. So, um, Simon, would you please introduce yourself and then introduce Diane as well?
Yes, hello everybody. So I'm Simon Hanaya, graduate of junior college in 2002. We are the parents of four children. But go ahead, introduce yourself first.
Hi, I'm Diana Anaya, Simon's wife. We have our four kids at NIMI. You can go ahead and introduce
So
them.
currently we have two sophomores in junior college, Ruby and Simon. And Celeste is a sophomore in high school, and Angel is a freshman in high school.
Very good. Then we have Jessica. Would you please introduce yourself and talk a little bit about your children?
Hi, good evening. I'm Jessica Sandoval, and I have three cadets attending NIMI. So my youngest of the bunch, I actually have seven boys, my husband and I, and so the three younger boys attend NIMI. So the youngest one there, Isidro, it's his second year. He's a sophomore. He's a staff sergeant, and he's also a basketball player on the junior varsity basketball team. And then I have Jose Sandoval Jr., and he is a third year. He's a junior there at NIMI. And I have Mario Sandoval, who is in junior college, and it's his first year there. He's a freshman, and he is also a sergeant.
Wow. Thank you very much. I would like to ask Isaac to tell us a little bit about his children and also about himself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Isaac Chavez. I am proud graduate of both the high school and junior college. So I spent 5 years there back in the late 80s and early 90s. And I have three children, and two of them are currently cadets. I have Octavian, who is his second year, and he is a sergeant first class in Alpha. He's also a member of the championship soccer team. Then I have a new cadet this year, his younger brother, Hadrian, who's in ninth grade. And he is part of the Honor Flame Guard, which we're very proud of. And both of them kind of grew up watching me go to alumni association meetings, attending homecomings. Some of my closest friends are still were my classmates. And so for my two sons, it was kind of almost like a natural destiny almost to attend the school. It wasn't forced on them by any means, but it just kind of felt natural and right for them when the time came.
Thank you very much. Now, Grace, can you tell us about your child, your cadet?
Absolutely. So my name is Grace Butler. Our family is in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and our son Julian Butler attends NIMI. He's a freshman this year, so this is his second semester. He survived being a rat last semester and is back at it this semester. He has enjoyed playing football for the Colts there at NMMI, and so far he's really enjoying his year there. He hasn't gained any rank or anything yet, but he is applying to be part of going up the rank for next fall. So he's excited to go back next year.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. So tonight we want to hear your questions. We want tonight to be very interactive. So please ask your questions about NMMI as we give you a better understanding of our campus and our programs. What do you want to know about NMMI? Ask us on social media using hashtag AskNMMI. Post them in the YouTube chat or snap them to us at NMMI Life. This is a chance for you to get to know our school and what we're about from families who experience all that we have to offer firsthand. So I would like to remind you that there's still time to apply for fall 2024. I would highly encourage you to submit your application as soon as possible. So it will have the time that you need to submit all the required documentation and be reviewed for scholarships. Just want to remind you that NMMI offers affordable tuition rates. NMMI offers over 180 scholarships for both high school and junior college. One more thing, NMMI offers a zero cost options for New Mexico high school resident high school students. One must apply and qualify for the Knowles Legislative Scholarship. For more information, you can contact us at 1-800-421-5376, or for those who live abroad, 575-622-6250, or you can send us an email to admissions@nmmi.edu. So let's begin our session here. And let's begin with Jessica. So, Jessica, how did you first learn about NMMI and what were your first impressions about the school?
So growing up, I hadn't really heard much of NIMI. My husband had, being a basketball player in high school, but it was our sixth son, Jose, who is now a junior there, that's attending. He is actually the one that he was interested in attending. So initially he was interested either in attending ROTC, some sort of program going into high school, or my husband had offered the opportunity at NIMI, something that he had heard about again in high school. So my son did the research on his own and in seventh grade, and decided, especially after going into the pandemic and going to online school, that he wanted to be in a boarding school, I guess. And so instead of going out of eighth grade, instead of going into the public school system here in Rio Rancho, he decided that he was going to explore his options at NIMI. He looked into it. We got on some YouTube live events similar to this and asked questions and gained as much information as we could. And so we supported his decision, as hard as it was for us. And here we are, 3 kids later.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you so much. Now, Grace, what about you? How did you learn about NMMI?
We just started researching high schools because my kids go to a small private Christian school here in Albuquerque that goes up through 8th grade. And so everybody has to figure out where to go for high school. And we just are not thrilled with the public school systems here where we live. And we knew that Julian, he just needed something more challenging, something more geared towards his personality. And so we started checking out NIMI for about 2 years before he started last year. We went on so many tours of the school just to make sure that it was the right fit and that he felt comfortable going and being there on the campus. And we even took his grade school principal up to the school with us on a tour so that he could just check it out and talk and see what the academics were like. And we were really serious about it. And my husband just fell in love with NIMI and the structure of it. And just how much Julian could grow and learn at a school like NMMI. And so no doubt it is so hard to drop your child off. I was in tears and shaking the first morning when we were dropping him off. I didn't even know if I could go to the campus that morning. I was so just shaken up about dropping my child off. But in the long run, it is just so beneficial to him, and he's really enjoying it. And that's really what it's all about, is him enjoying it and just growing and being in an environment that is going to grow him into a fine young man. And that's what we're finding NMMI is doing for him.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, Isaac, you have a legacy through NMMI as you attended here. So talk a little bit about that.
Well, you know, when you attend the Institute, you basically become a man or a woman, an adult while you're there. And it doesn't matter if you start in 9th grade or 10th grade or 11th grade. The memories and the friendships that I made when I was there are the close friendships that I still have. I have, you know, people that I consider brothers and sisters that were with me in those days. And I think that's one of the most exciting things that I have for my two sons, is that I can't wait to see them grow their friendships and continue after they graduate. It's such a blessing to have a connection with fellow cadets all around the world now. You know, I mean, Facebook and social media makes it easy to keep up with them. But, you know, I spend my days looking at what my fellow classmates are doing in their adult lives now. And it's helped a lot personally, professionally, emotionally, throughout my life. I'm almost 52 years old, and my closest friends I met when I was 15. So I think the corps d'esprit at NMMI is bar none, second to none. And the experiences that you have there as a cadet, you really can't understand that unless you attend the school there. And that's why cadets stay friends with their fellow cadets throughout their lives, because they're the only ones that can kind of really relate to each other. The experience is so different from a public school and even normal private schools that, you know, it really takes a fellow cadet to kind of be able to reminisce and feel nostalgic about that.
Okay, thank you. Now, Simon, what about you?
A lot of the things he shared, you know, that camaraderie, it's so important. But so I learned of NMMI when I was in high school. I came here for the early commissioning program that they offered. So that was really my reason. We lived in Long Beach, California at the time. We're now here in Roswell. We made the move to be close to them. But I'll be honest, and since I graduated, I really hadn't come back to a homecoming until 2002, which was 22, which was my 20th reunion, and basically reconnected with a lot of my rat buddies, and it was like we never left. That's one thing that it just kind of hit me and shocked me a little bit, because you just never leave this place. I think that's one of the things that, you know, once you're here, it's just part of your life, and it just doesn't go away. So now that I'm here locally, we've been able to attend more of the alumni functions and the dinners and stuff like that. And once again, just the unity that there is between, you know, everybody, regardless of the year of your graduation, it's something pretty amazing. It's something that I'm sharing, you know, I'll be able to share with 4 of my children, which is what I'm looking forward to. Call all ourselves alums from the Institute. So I think that'll be something great.
That's great. That's great. So, Diana, let me ask you a question. So, did your children, inspired by their dad's experience as an alum at NMMI, decide to come? Or how did they react when you start discussing the idea of having them attend NMMI?
Honestly, the topic of coming to NMMI never came up until our youngest, Angel, was already in middle school. And one day we were just watching YouTube videos, dad showing them the institute and just different stuff about the time that he spent here, looking through pictures. And all of a sudden, he shared with us that he wanted to come to high school here at NMMI. And so that's originally how it started. He wanted to come to the institute. We entertained the idea with him. And a couple months later, our daughter, Miss Celeste, who is a sophomore in high school now, asked us, well, what about me? What if I want to go to me? And we're like, well, of course you can go to me. That's, it has to be your choice. There's nothing that we ever wanted to make them feel like they had to do or follow in dad's footsteps. But it started with the youngest one. And then our daughter said, what about me? So we're like, okay. Our son Simon Jr., he was already accepted and ready to go to Texas Tech for his freshman year of college. And something happened, what is it, like the summer right before?
Yeah.
Where he kind of also started getting to know a little bit more about the institute, and he decided not to go to Texas Tech and hold off those 2 years and join the institute here instead. So he was able to do both of his junior college years there. Our daughter Ruby actually kind of took a gap year and caught up to her brother. She did go to ENMU for her freshman year of college, and with 3 siblings at the institute, she was really hesitant even that first year of college at ENMU, and decided not to join NMMI, but ultimately felt like she didn't want to have any what ifs, and decided to do her second year of junior college at the institute as well. So it was literally all their choices, all their decisions. Yeah.
But I guess there was a little bit of inspiration there, right, Simon?
Yeah, I mean, as far as what I shared is how much I love the place and the experience. I don't think they really realized what it was going to be until they've been there. And now that they're there, it's like, it's hard to even make them come home. I mean, they love it so much there.
Oh, that's wonderful. What about you, Isaac?
My sons, they love it. They, I've told them stories about things that happened when I was there, and I've been really, really cognizant that it's 2 generations ago practically. So, the experiences that I had are not the same in many ways. I mean, they have technology. They're able to use their phones and social media and internet and emails, and the way they communicate with their troop through texting, and they're able to communicate with their troop advisors, their teachers, all through email. All of that didn't exist when I was there. We still had to go to the library with, the old-fashioned card catalogs. So they're thriving. They love the school in every aspect. I mean, this last weekend, they were so excited because the new bowling alley opened, and they're bowling constantly, and they're in tournaments. And, how many private schools do you know that have their own state-of-the-art bowling alley? I mean, that's pretty cool, I think. And so those are the types of amenities that this school offers that really the kids have it better here than they have it if they were living at home. And my kids tell me that all the time. They said, Dad, if we were home with you guys, you're so strict. We have more freedom here. Even with all the rules, we're able to at least, kind of choose how we want our day to go and what we want to eat. And so I think that kids that are self-starters and kids that are self-motivated can do very, very well here and expand their horizons without their parents, constantly having to kind of have their foot on their neck, telling them what to do.
That's wonderful. Thank you. Now, Jessica, when you think about the experience your cadets had prior to coming to NMMI, what do you see as the biggest difference in their previous school from the experience that they have now here at NMMI?
So being the youngest, first, the youngest two of 7 boys, they were very mature for their age to begin with. So we knew that once, after a few months of Jose attending NMMI, we knew that it was the right place for him. He was going to thrive there. He gained a lot of independence there. I tend to mother them a little bit too much sometimes. And so he was able to gain some independence. The other thing that he had to learn real hard and quick also is just how to manage his schedule. Time management is huge there at the Institute, and they do work on teaching you there. And then, when the second one followed, he's a pretty structured child anyway. And so we knew that he would fit right in, and it would be perfect for him because he likes structure. He likes having a schedule. And so when I talked to him about it, I said, just keep an open mind and an open heart and go in, and we'll go on a tour so you can get all the information, because he likes to know the plan. He likes to know all the details. If we're going on a trip, he wants to know what time we're leaving the house, what time we're getting to the airport, what time we board. He wants to know it all. So I told him, we'll do a tour. Obviously, you can ask your brother a ton of questions. And he did the same on the tour. And so he was a little more interested. And so we knew that, the institution, what it provided for them, the structure, the independence, time management, all of that, he was going to thrive there. He also has asthma and food allergies. And so he's been administering his own medication since he was 3 years old. So he was very, very already independent and just strong-willed, strong-minded, and he was a go-getter. He was ambitious, and he liked to try new things. And so that's exactly what he's doing there at the Institute. He's applied for leadership positions. He gets, he tried out for basketball. He's tried out for flame guard, which he's currently still going through. He just wants to get the most out of the school that he can. And then our junior college son, he is the same. He's real structured. He's not a procrastinator. He's a go-getter. He stays focused. The school has provided him, the support that he needs to continue with that mindset, to grow and flourish at the Institute there has just been, it's phenomenal. He's a straight A student. He's got a 4.0 that he's carrying. He's interested in moving on to Texas A&M. So the school's just provided so much independence, structure, time management. We've seen the growth in them, despite them already being mature enough going into the Institute. It's just been, I can't say enough about it. We tell everybody about it, and we try to recruit everybody.
Thank you so much, Jessica. We appreciate that. Thank you. So, Grace, when you were looking into sending your cadet here to NMMI, what did you see as the biggest advantage to sending your cadet to NMMI?
Probably just the whole. It's a beautiful campus, first of all. It's absolutely beautiful. It's well maintained. It's clean. Everybody there, all the adults that we spoke with, are very friendly and kind and helpful. So overall, it just seemed like a good fit for Julian to go and experience NMMI on his own.
Wonderful. Did you have any concerns about sending him here to NMMI?
Certainly. Just him being there on his own and being 14 years old, yes. And a lot of our family had concerns too. Like, what are you doing sending your 14-year-old off to a military institute at that, so we got a lot of questions on why we were making the decision that we were making. And, but ultimately, I think everybody could see, for instance, like my parents came out and did a tour of the school, and they liked it a lot. They compared it to VMI. Julian's not there because he wants to join the military in the future. He actually wants to own his own business. He wants to be a business owner. I have 2 other sons that are up and coming, and they're also on track to go to NMMI as well. And my second wants to go to the Air Force Academy, which when we were there dropping Julian off for the first day, we met some parents that had a kid going to NMMI for 1 year because the Air Force Academy told them that he had to serve 1 year at NMMI before he could move on to the Air Force Academy. So it was kind of a trek. It's a trek for some kids who want to go into these military schools. The military schools are saying, well, we want you to have a little bit of a military background first. You know, we want you to see if you even like this style of living before you come to our academy. So for my second kid that wants to go to the Air Force Academy, this is really perfect for him. And then my third wants to go to West Point. So it's really good for him as well. But for Julian, like I said, he wants to be a business owner. And the academics there are really good. And it's really taught him to be organized. He came from a very small school that just had 1 classroom with 1 teacher. And he went from that to going to 7 different classrooms with 7 different teachers. And he had to learn to communicate. That was the big thing with his academic advisor. If he got sick, which he got sick last semester twice, he had to learn to communicate with everybody, like, hey, you know, so that he didn't get in trouble, you know. He had to make sure he was reaching out to all of his teachers, his academic advisor, to the nurses, everybody, you know, and he had never had to do that kind of stuff before. So really just learning to stand up for himself, not like with other kids necessarily, but just stand up for himself in a way that he can show that, hey, I'm on track here. You know, I'm in good standing. Like, I want to keep in good standing. So standing up for himself that way, learning to communicate, and learning to organize himself with 7 different teachers, 7 different classes. You have different assignments you have to get done. You have to constantly be looking and seeing what to do and when it's due. And so he's learned a lot. It's been a big adjustment, a very big adjustment. And we've seen this semester where some of his friends didn't make it last semester. You know, it's rigorous. I mean, you've got to work hard and want to be at NMMI in order to do well at NMMI.
Well, thank you very much. As you can see, we have several programs that you can take advantage of. Your child can take advantage of. So I have a question here. So thank you so much for the questions that you're sending. One is like confirming that new cadets, the international cadets, have to be on campus by August 29. Let me correct this. All of new international cadets should be reporting to Roswell July 28, not August. We will have orientation July 29 and 30th. July 31st, all new international cadets will matriculate, and also the new junior college cadets will matriculate. Then August 1st, all new high school students will matriculate. So please, if you need more information or if you're not sure, go ahead and send an email to admissions@nmmi.edu. We'll be happy to reply and send you the calendar and everything. So we'll be talking more about that. So Isaac, tell me about what was the adjustment like for you coming to NMMI, and what about for your children?
Well, I mean, I think the first thing is when you're 14 or 15, you're going to have some level of homesickness, regardless of how independent you are. It's not natural for 14 and 15-year-old children to to leave their families in the modern day and age. So I think that's probably the thing that I remember the most, is missing my mother and my parents. And, and in those days we didn't have phones. So we kind of had to wait 3 weeks or so before we could even get in line to make a phone call from the payphones. These days, it's not like that. So I think my kids didn't feel that as much. They were able to kind of stay in communication with us, if not immediately. I mean, after a few days during rat week, we were able to communicate and text and, see how they were doing, checking in. So I think in those aspects, having technology probably helps. But another thing that's an adjustment, to be quite honest with you, is the food. I mean, it depends what your background is, but if you're going from eating normal 2 to 3 home cooked meals with your family to suddenly eating at a Bates Hall for 3 to 4 meals a day, doesn't matter how delicious the food might be, it's still an adjustment to go from what your mother cooks to what a big school makes. My kids are having a much easier time at it than I did. They seem to be loving the fact that they can eat as much as they want when they want, kind of. And one thing that the Institute does now that they didn't do is they have the 4th meal option. I believe after night study hall, they can go get some more food. I think that's one of the best things the school's ever done, because we used to go to bed starving after studying for 2 to 3 hours and couldn't wait till the next morning. So I think having that is probably one of the biggest positives that the school instituted a few years ago.
Thank you. Now, Simon, what about you? What was the adjustment like for you?
In my experience, I was out of state at the time, so that really was the first time that I left home. My youngest brothers, well, we're only 2 in my household as far as siblings go, so my brother was 9 years younger than me. So for a long time, I was like mama's boy there, and we were pretty attached, pretty close knit. So leaving was definitely difficult, and just kind of going with what Isaac was saying is, we didn't have the communication that there is today. So that did make it difficult. I did want to honor the rules that they had. So we definitely had about a month where we can even communicate home. Letters, I mean, you could write letters. That's when we had that type of communication. So, it was hard. It was hard getting away, but also a great experience to just kind of find that independence a little bit. For our kids, we're now in Roswell, so definitely a complete different experience for them. We also asked them to try to respect the time period in which there is no communication with the parents. But again, as previously mentioned, with the phones and the computer and the technology, it's so easy to just do some type of FaceTime and see how they're doing. But so that changed. I mean, they're able to come home, a little more often, go to church with us on Sundays. So they're definitely in a different, adjustment. So it's kind of like they didn't know what to expect, but at the same time, they have home here in town. So that's been a lot easier for them to go through that. Mentioning the food, that's definitely been an adjustment. However, again, with the technology and everything available now, DoorDash seems to be a fan favorite over there. They definitely love to bring in their own food through that. So that is definitely something that they have available. And with us being here, sometimes, we can spoil them a little bit and take something over. So, but that's really.
Thank you very much. So one thing that I would like to remind you is that we're accepting applications for fall 2024. Our application process, it's very seamless, very simple. You go to our website, www.nmmi.edu, and click on the admissions tab, and then you click on apply now. So there's no application fee. So just go ahead and submit your application. As soon as we received your application, you will receive an email from the school acknowledging the receipt of your application, and you will have a designated counselor that will be in contact with you or your child and guide you through the whole process. We're here to assist you. So, and other things, you heard some of the parents here saying that they visit NMMI. So if you're interested in visiting the school, please schedule a tour. Also, go on our website. You can click on the admissions tab, and then you can click on visit NMMI. You can choose the date and time that best suits you. During your visit, you'll be able to speak with other cadets on post when classes are in session. Also have lunch with the cadets. You can take advantage of the time here and interview and also test if your child, if you wish to do so. So, Jessica, why don't you tell us if you have any advice that you can share with parents here to help make the application process go smoothly?
Yeah, so what I found during the admissions process and just throughout the school year is just lean on the advisors. If you have any questions about anything during the process, just reach out to them. They're very responsive. I've built a relationship with many of them, and I try to get involved myself during different events that we're allowed to. And so I've gotten to know some of the admission staff. And from the very beginning, I just found that they were very supportive. They were available to answer questions. And so if I didn't have, if the answers weren't available to me on the internet, because I went there first to try to get all the information that I could, then I would reach out to the admissions office. As soon as you submit your application, as mentioned, you'll receive an email from one of the advisors. And so I just tapped into those resources and got all the questions that I had answered.
Okay, thank you very much. Grace, do you have any advice to share?
I would say, if you're talking about for admissions, I would say the same thing. The admissions office is great. We worked with Natalie the whole time. She gave us tours. She worked with us with the admissions process. She made sure we had all of the scholarships at hand that we could have. So we got a legislative scholarship, which was great. And then Julian also qualified for an academic scholarship, which he's been able to maintain. So that's great. So we have had 100% of tuition paid for through the legislative scholarship and the academic scholarship. So it's been excellent. Julian wrote a thank you letter to the legislator that sponsored him, and we were able to go out and have lunch with her during the Christmas break. And that was fabulous. It was really nice. And she really enjoyed meeting a NMMI cadet because she goes up to Santa Fe and hears about NMMI. And, you know, now she knows, she's met a cadet. She sees what it's all about. We talked to her about what NMMI is all about. And she's on board with continuing to support NMMI in New Mexico. So it's been great. Mm-hmm.
So thank you very much. So Grace, just another question for you. How long did it take for your cadet to make friends here and feel comfortable being away from home?
Well, actually, I think this was the first year that NMMI did this, where they tried to, they allowed cadets to go on and answer a questionnaire about who they wanted their roommate to be. And then we got to go on there and read about everybody's profiles that matched with Julian. And then we got to reach out to them. We had their contact information. And so he got to pick his roommate. And his roommate was from Las Cruces. And my husband's family is from Las Cruces. So we actually went down there before school even started and met with their family. So he had a friend before school even started. And I think that that's a great idea that NMMI came up with to be able to put you with somebody that you have the same values and maybe the same goals. And, you know, at least try their best to get you in with a roommate that's compatible.
Thank you very much. Jessica, what about you? What about your cadet?
So my the first one that went there, the junior Jose, he is very extroverted, and so he likes to make friends, and he's very social, always has been. So during his rap period is when he his recruit at training period, which is his about first month in, he learned to just make friends. He would eat with different people within his troop that he was allowed to during meal times. And of course, his roommate walking into the institute brand new and not knowing who he was going to be rooming with, he just discovered who it was when they walked in the door. So he made friends there. As far as the other two, Isidro, the youngest, is he already knew his brother, so he had that advantage. And then obviously his brother's friends, and so he tapped into that a little bit. But that bond between the troops when they first start and those that they matriculate with is really where those friendships start to develop. So they have their troops that they have to hang out with and they bond with during those first 2 weeks before school starts. And so he just, I encouraged him to just talk to different people. I told him, everyone here is feeling the same way you are. They're scared. They're afraid, to meet new people. They don't know what they stepped into. They're away from home. Everybody else is feeling the exact same way. They might not express it, but they're feeling the same way. So just embrace that, embrace someone that might be struggling. Talk to somebody because they may need you. And then for our third one, the junior college, of course, he had the advantage of having both of his brothers there. And so he tapped into a little bit of that, but also he really made those solid friends during matriculation and then again, troop bonding. So that troop bonding is really what that first 2 week period when they first matriculate is really where they start developing those relationships and finding those solid friends. Now, I can't say that they've been friends with those people initially the entire time they've been there because obviously kids get weeded out, and they learn to, like Grace mentioned, bonding with the kids that share the same values. They just kind of start picking through the friends and hanging out with the ones that are going to make them better.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. Now, Isaac, so I'm sure that the military structure has been beneficial for you. So tell me, what do you think the military structure has done or has provided for your cadet?
Well, my oldest son, Octavian, when he started there last year, it was an adjustment, getting up so early and having to, have your uniform shined and, getting the room cleaned before classes. Even as much as I was able to try to prepare them for some of that, you still can't really figure it out till you do it yourself. So I think, that now translating almost 2 years later, when he comes home on breaks, he's literally chasing around the family, telling us to pick up our stuff, and he's just picking up everything. And it's amazing to see how suddenly, he cares about how clean the house is and his siblings' rooms are. Before he went to the institute, he definitely wasn't like that. So I think the regimentation really helps him out. My second son, who's a freshman, he is loving it. He is actually so organized now. He loves to stay on task. Going back to what we talked about a while ago, what Grace said about how her son was able to kind of find a roommate that matched. My son was able to do that too, and it worked out really well. And then if I can add something about the admissions process,
Yes,
be
please.
sure and speak to your admissions counselor or advisor about every possible way to help pay. So I'm out of state, for example, so my kids don't qualify, unfortunately, for the legislative and Knoll scholarships. But because I was a veteran, if either of your parents are veterans, your kids do qualify for New Mexico in-state tuition rate, which is a substantial discount. So I didn't even know that. And I'm a pretty active alumni, actually. I didn't know that until my first son enrolled. And, they told me it was going to be half the price of what I was expecting. And so that's solely because I was in the Army myself. So there's a lot of scholarships. There's a lot of different ways. if you're not from New Mexico, there's still tons of available financial help to go to this school. And so that's been a pleasant surprise for our family. And then finally, the regimentation of the school has kind of transformed what my kids want to do with their future. My oldest son now is getting ready to apply to go to West Point. And that was never kind of in his game plan before he came here. And now he's really wants to do it. So I think the school can really help transform a cadet if they take advantage of all the opportunities and the tutoring and the advisors. There's just so many resources at this school that are available to the cadets. I mean, you really can't fail here unless you just really don't try, in my opinion.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yes, and just like Isaac said, please do not allow the financial aspect of attending NMMI push you away. Talk to your admissions counselor. There are many opportunities here, as I mentioned before. So, Simon, tell me a little bit about the academic preparedness that you feel your children, your cadets have here at NMMI. So this is our mission, right? So what kind of supports in the teachers provide to your children? Not only the teachers, but also all the support NMMI has available for the cadets.
Alrighty. Well, where do I start with that? As you said, our motto, duty, honor, achievement. That's real. That's really a thing there. So just to echo a little bit right there at the ending what Isaac said, if you just want to fail, you're going to fail, because everything that's available in that place as a resource is there to make you succeed. Everything. I mean, you have the tutoring, you have I go to the alumni after hours, which are like dinners, gatherings. We just got a little review here from the dean himself. If I remember correctly, over 90% of our staff has a master's or higher. So a master's, PhD. I think there's maybe one individual that doesn't have their master's, but yet they're working on it already.
98.6, Simon.
There you go. So 98. Yep. So with that said, I mean, the academic support, the knowledge, the wisdom, the ability of professors, and the education support that is there, I don't think you can beat it anywhere else. For what NMMI has to offer as a high school, as a junior college, I do believe they rank probably in the top 5, if not number 1 in the state here. So again, just to say it in simple words, it's like you should not fail. You really have to just not care to fail. I mean, you live there. They have their study hours, 7 to 9 or so. The dedication for studying for academics there is there. I mean, they will have all the support. They have their library. They have everything you need. I mean, the staff puts in their time to come in early to do tutoring, as well as they're available there at night for the study halls. So
Math labs.
yeah, she's saying math labs. I don't know if you guys heard her. With that, it's just additional help for basically every course that you're taking. So, I mean,
Wonderful.
I'd like to say more, but it's all there. It's all there.
Yeah. Thank you so much. So, Jessica, what is your opinion in regards to all the academically the academic support that our cadets have here at NMMI?
Well, it's definitely a lot more than they would receive in public school. So I constantly remind my boys, they struggled. They honestly struggled in, some months and some semesters. And when they did in a specific subject, especially math, is where their downfall is, the 2 younger ones. And so when they were struggling, we met with the teacher during parent weekend, scheduled the conferences with them during that time. And what I learned was that there were in math alone, there's 5 different opportunities for tutoring. So they have tutoring.com, they have the one-on-one teachers. As Simon explained, you can go in early. All the teachers offer tutoring before classes start. So my son's struggling in English, he went to go see his teacher. He's able to lean on his teachers for any advice. If he had to write an essay, have them look it over before he turns it in, polish it up. The other tutoring opportunities, as they mentioned, is the math lab. They have peer tutoring, night study hall. There's teachers available to help also in the library. So definitely my kids have taken advantage many times of night study hall in the library, and either just meeting with a group of students that are stronger in a subject that can help guide them and tutor them a little bit, or meeting with a teacher, asking questions. There's lots of opportunity. As far as the peer tutoring, there, if your cadet, one of my cadets was strong in one certain subject, he offered peer tutoring. They have the school has academic weekends, I think once or twice a month. And so during that time is also another opportunity for the students to get extra support from the teachers, peer tutoring, whatever the school has available. And so I constantly remind my boys that the public school system, they won't receive the one-on-one tutoring that they do at the Institute. Not to mention that each class only has maybe 15 students or less, depending on the class. Some of my boys only have maybe 5 kids in the class. And so they really do get a lot of one-on-one time, and it just time invested from all of the teachers and the Institute. Everybody, the advisors are willing to help. If my boys are struggling in a class, or they're struggling with focusing on work in doing their homework in their dorms, then the advisors have often invited them over to do the homework during their free period at their office, so that they can get some extra support if needed, and also use that time to focus.
Thank you very much. So with your answer, Jessica, you helped us to answer one of the questions that we have here. If an international student has issues with any subject, probably because of the language, does he or she receives help or support from any teacher? Yes, not only from the teachers, but from tutors, from the academic advisors. So there's a lot of support here available to our cadets. We want to make sure that they have all the tools necessary to succeed. Not only succeed, but excel. Okay?
Christina, can I add to that?
Yes, please.
One of the things that I like the most is the early warning system. So I believe it's on Fridays or Mondays, I get an email with a report of my son's grades. If there was any tardies or absences, or if there's any special comments from the teachers, good or bad, positive, negative. But more importantly, I get to see how their grades are in each of their classes every single week. So being far away and not being with them every day, that's been a big help and a big blessing for us to kind of be able to have those conversations with our kids and say, I noticed that your grade in math has gone down a lot the last week or 2 or 3 weeks. What's going on? Have you gone to tutoring? So I think that's one thing that parents, you can kind of know that that's available. I'm not sure exactly if that's also in junior college, but it's definitely in high school.
Thank you very much. Now, this is a question I would like to ask all of you parents, and I'll start with you, Grace. What does leadership look like for your cadet?
Leadership for my cadet. Well, like I said earlier, Julian hasn't gotten a rank at NMMI yet. So I don't know if he has necessarily developed that skill yet as far as leading a troop. Hopefully he'll gain that in the near future. But for him specifically, he's learned to listen to his troop leaders and gain respect from them, and just learn what's required at NMMI. And that's the beautiful thing about a military style boarding school is that they're being taught how to keep their room in order, how to keep their clothes in order, how to keep their life in order, and how to organize themselves. And so he is being a leader of himself right now, and learning to lead himself down a good path. And then hopefully in the near future, he'll start leading others as well.
Thank you. What about you, Diana? What would you say? What does leadership look like for your cadets?
I think the leadership for them looks like following, first of all, the rules. And I think they've been able to see that there is a structure. And before you can get to the leading part, you have to, learn the following part. And that all happened during, the rat period. And not all of them are in leadership positions yet, but the ones that are definitely have taken that and they're leading by example. And I think that's one of the biggest things that they've been able to learn, to lead by example. And the cadets under them respond very well to that. And they've been able to mature in that way and gain new skills. And the ones that are not in the leadership position yet are being able to see that with, like, at least with our kids, they're being able to see each other and want to challenge each other and, reach the same type of goals as they're seeing their brother or sister do. But those are things that they're definitely being able to learn there. And those are skills and things that they're learning that they're going to be able to take with them, like, anywhere. I don't think leaving the Institute is going to be hard for them wherever they end up, because the skills that they've learned there in both, again, following instructions and being able to lead, they're going to be able to use wherever life takes them. And I think that's one of the biggest things that they're seeing, and really appreciate and not fight the authority figure or whoever's above them. It's to learn that, okay, they're doing that because that's their job. And if they're doing the job well, then that benefits me. And that's making me learn so that I know how to do a proper job later on. So I think that's definitely the leadership structure that I see in our kids, and I'm sure in a lot of other cadets.
Thank you very much. Isaac, would you like to add to it?
Specifically about what? Sorry.
About what leadership look like for your cadets?
So my oldest has been able to really jump in. He was he immediately was the starter on the soccer team last year as a new cadet. And then this year came back and was one of the co-captains, and they were lucky, skilled enough to win the state championship. So he's taken a leadership role in his sports team, which really, really motivates him. And yes, he's been able to get some rank. He's a sergeant first class now. He's a platoon sergeant in Alpha. One of the privileges is he gets to live in one of those little larger corner rooms with a couple of roommates. So he takes that as a very big sign of privilege, and he wants to keep that going. He's really driven by the little things they wear on their shirts and the cords and all the different awards. He likes to earn those, and so he's always taking on new challenges. My younger son kind of has to live in his shadow a little bit, and so he's come along and has taken a total different tact. He threw himself into the Flame Guard, and he also threw himself into the ropes team and rappelling team. So he's doing a bunch of stuff as well. But they both, you can tell when you talk to them, they both have developed automatic natural leadership skills, which I think does come naturally from attending a school like this. Whether you do it consciously or not, it just becomes part of who you are. And the funniest thing is when they come home for winter break and you see them interacting with their old friends from school here, the way they talk and the way they do things is very different from the friends that used to be with them here. And it's very noticeable to us as parents how much they've grown, how much they've matured. Even if they themselves don't necessarily think so, we definitely can tell.
Yeah, thank you very much. So, some of you have mentioned that your cadet is involved in sports and extracurricular activities. Jessica,
Mhm.
can you tell us a little bit about that? Are your cadets involved in sports and extracurricular activities?
Yeah, so my youngest son is a sophomore, as I mentioned. He played basketball last year. He was more the manager and hopped in a couple of games towards the end of the season. This year, he was on the team for JV, and so he played this last season, and then they're involved in clubs. They don't participate too much in the clubs as much as my son in the sports. They try to occupy their time as much as possible, but it's between sports and school and attending PT regularly, night study hall. They have a pretty jam-packed day, so it leaves some weekends and such for some club participations. There's a variety of clubs that they've joined. Ski club, Crew 30. They camp and learn survival skills. Um, they did paintball. That's just a few of the clubs that they've helped with or participated in, and then they've helped like ropes course and stuff like that on the weekends when they get a little bit bored. They're so used to being so busy that
Yes.
they
So,
like to occupy that time. So it's
Je-
manageable. My son in basketball has he's got a full schedule, but he's been able to manage it. It's tough.
Wonderful. So, Jessica, would you say that your cadet has changed since being at an MMI?
Oh yeah, all three of them. Again, they're very respectful and very mature young boys to begin with, being the youngest of the group. But we just seen they just seemed to grow up so much. Again, I was real motherly with them, and when I asked my junior, Jose Junior, I asked him what if he could describe, going to the institute for the very first time, like how would you describe that? What would you tell somebody? And he said, "Well, you know how when we go to the airport when we're flying out and you tell us where to go and you tell us what to do and you tell us when we need to be there and you get our tickets and you check our bags and you just instruct us along the way and we just follow you." He's like, "Well, yeah, it's like that, but we have to do it all on our own and figure it out, walk around the institute and ask questions and fend for ourselves." And um, so anyhow, that's it.
Very good. Okay, so we have a couple of other questions here. One of the questions, do junior college freshmen get drop off by parents? Yes, you can drop off your junior college freshman and visit an MMI, talk to us. We would love to see you here. We'd love to talk to you. So, as you know, time flies. So let's wrap up tonight's discussion. I have, excuse me, one final question to all of you. If you were to sum up your cadet's journey at NMMI in a few words, what would you say it's been like? Grace, let's start with you.
Oh man, I knew you were going to pick me first. um, so in a couple words, how would I describe? Would you repeat that?
Yes. How tell us about your cadet's journey at NMMI from
Cadet.
when he started here and how, looking back, how do you see your cadet?
He has just grown so much, physically, grown, and also just mentally grown. He is, like Jessica said, my kids are very good kids anyway. They're just lovely children. But the way that Julian, I talk to him now, and I'm just floored when I call him and I talk to him, he is so respectful and just, I don't know, he's just kind. He's learning so much there. He really is. And that's really, to sum it up, he's just growing up. He's maturing. I can't explain it any other way, but that is that the maturity level for a 14-year-old, he just blows me away.
That's great.
amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm happy to hear that. What about you, Jessica?
So I think the Institute's phenomenal. Again, I can't say enough about it. My husband and I we talk it up everywhere we go. Anybody that has a student that's in sports or anything like that, it's provided our boys an opportunity that public school never would have. I know that by them attending the Institute, it will open doors that would have never been available to them had they not gone here. The leadership that they're learning, the time management, the respect that they've learned, the maturity they've grown, leadership, everything that they're gaining and learning at the Institute will not only help them with their life skills, but also it'll just help them to open their minds and their hearts and dream a little bit bigger, because without that, they would have just gone to maybe community college. And without the interest of the Institute, my son would have never thought of going to Texas A&M, because he hadn't been a part of the Corps of Cadets. And so now that's what he's after, and joining the nursing program. And this is all stuff they wouldn't have done without the Institute. And so it's already started to open doors that we never thought that they would have available to them. So, the opportunities are they're enormous. There's so much for them to dream and achieve.
Thank you. Simon, what about you?
The growth, it's been already said a few times, but the growth in them. But I think the growth in an advanced age, an advanced maturity. One that really stands out for us is our second oldest, sorry. We actually made a move to Roswell, and he did his senior year here after, knowing his friends for a long period of time. So that was really difficult on him. So he's pretty much stayed very shy. And last year, as a freshman in college, he kind of went through the rhythm. But then just by this year, just a year later, he's a second lieutenant. He's a first lieutenant, sorry. He's a troop XO, so he's second in command of his troop. And he's a flame guard drill sergeant, so he's the one that teaches them now. Well, by the way, your kids can get a job at school, and get paid. So he's actually working at the ropes course, so he's a trainer there. He went for a homecoming king and got the college homecoming king. So it just brought him out of the shell in a way that we would have never expected, honestly. I know what the place offers helped me to get out of my shell when I was there, but it's just extreme change. And again, he's a leader. He's a leader now, and he'll be going to Texas Tech now. Next year, I know we mentioned earlier, he decided to stay here for the first 2 years, but he's just excited. He's grown so much. Our second, or now our oldest, was also a sophomore in college. Our daughter, she's one that you wouldn't get to talk anywhere with anybody. And, now she's applied for leadership positions and everything. And we're like, wow, she's a whole different person. So the fact that his peers, leading peers, brings them out of that shell to really stand out, right, and become somebody. And as far as the growth goes personally there, as far as that leadership that we were talking about earlier, one thing that I would say, if your child's going to come here, tell them to challenge themselves, right, to challenge themselves in the leadership positions, because that will also advance their growth that we've seen through most of our kids. We do know that there's some kids that want to stay at the lowest rank possible throughout their time there because they just don't want that responsibility. But if they just want to and they challenge themselves, the opportunity is there. They will have leadership positions in which that's the growth that I think is going to give them that opportunity to get into the real world atmosphere, right? They, by being at the Institute here, they already entered that system where again, peers leading peers. That's the workforce, right? We go out there, and now you got a boss and somebody to tell you what to do, and that's that growth that I continue to see in them. That they're really embracing that. They are able to respectfully lead others in their same age, and some even older than them, and that's very important for the workforce. So it's been a good transition for all of them. I mean, 2 will be graduating this year, so we'll be losing 2 moving on. But then by next year, we'll have a junior and a sophomore. So it's been a great experience for them.
Thank you very much. Isaac, would you like to add to what everybody said?
Everybody said wonderful things, and I would just add that the honor system, duty, honor, achievement, a cadet will not lie, steal, or cheat, or tolerate those who do. I think this school prepares young people to lead moral and honorable lives in and outside of the school. And when they leave it, they know what's the difference between right and wrong. And the world is not as easy as it used to be. It's not as black and white anymore. It's a tough place out there. And there's a lot of people trying to scam you and hurt you. And this school teaches you and instills in you, I shouldn't say teaches, but instills in you the difference between right and wrong. And when you're leading your own peers, like Simon said, you're able to help instill in your brothers and your sisters, what's right and wrong. So instead of hearing it from an adult or a teacher like we're used to doing, when you hear it from your buddy, it feels different, and it really soaks into your heart and your head in a way that being preached to by an adult doesn't. When your best friend or your classmate or your roommate or your platoon sergeant who's a year older than you teaches you a lesson, you take it to heart, I think, tenfold compared to hearing it from an adult. So I think this school helps over-prepare kids to succeed in the real world when they get out these days. And I just know that I wouldn't be where I'm at today and wouldn't have been able to accomplish the things I've done in my life if I hadn't gone to NMMI and taken advantage of all the wonderful things it had for me. And I'm tickled pink that my sons, decided to do it as well, and that they're thriving too. So I highly recommend the school. I don't, volunteer for these types of things very often, but tonight I felt like I really wanted to be able to share how wonderful an experience it's been for my kids, and hopefully everybody else that you decide to send your kids there as well too. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much to all you parents for taking the time and spending part of your evening with us. Really appreciate your testimonials and everything you shared about your children and your own experience here at NMMI. Thank you so much for all of you for watching us. If you're interested in learning more about NMMI, please contact us at our email at admissions@nmmi.edu. Please, if you have any questions, feel free to contact us at any time. As I said, go to our website. We are accepting applications for fall 2024. Visit our website, www.nmmi.edu. And to learn more about us and our school, please follow us on social media. You can always watch any part of this back. You can share with your friends who might be interested in NMMI. Again, thank you so much for joining us. Have a good night.